going to be interesting moderating for so many people that I like so much, and then there's Dan.
I saw that coming a mile away, sir.
Good, you know me very well. But, hey, guys. So
That's your fault.
We just disproved flat Earth. Gravity's a thing. Great. Glad to know that we did that so easily. So, conversation strategies with theists. I'm sure none of us have ever had to experience that before in our lives. I know that here on the panel we have Shannon, who has done the Let's Talk About You series. That has been all about that. Kyle has the Non-Sequitur show. We have Eric, who has Talk Heathen, and then we have Dan, who wants some truth, but I'm not sure if he can get it. So I guess first we'll just go one by one. Dan, how does your show go usually?
How does my show go usually?
Yes, I've never been on it.
Yeah, so... He's lying.
I am actually lying through my teeth.
The Truth Wanted is a call-in show that we developed over at the Atheist Community of Austin, the same place where Eric makes his show and where Atheist Experience is at. And it's very similar to the other shows. I try to do a more street epistemology influence show. I bring in guest hosts every single week, including this guy over here, and Shannon as well. So my whole thing with my show is conversation strategies. It's all about talking to people about new ideas and how people do it. And I'm always surprised that, the atheist movement as it is, who values science so much, doesn't always look into the science of persuading people and having conversations with people. It's really interesting to me. We always try to think we're these kind of logical, rational people, and yet, being right isn't the same thing as being convincing. So it's kind of two different things in my eyes, and that's kind of what I explore.
Okay, and then what about you, Eric?
Oh, nice.
Thank you.
Gosh, it's so cool sitting with friends.
This panel's nothing but people burning each other. So I guess the conversation strategies with atheists need to be worked out first.
Talk Heathen is a show that I do with Jamie Boone in the fantastic, fabulous hat over there. Woo! And we started after the Atheist Experience, but before this gentleman. And the reason we started is because people would call into the Atheist Experience, and Matt would pick up and they'd say, I want to talk about the Kalam cosmological argument. And he'll say, I disagree with premise 2. Next. And they'd be at this crucial moment in their life, and they need that advice. And you want to know what happened. And then they hang up, and you never find out. And you see it online. People are like, "What happened to this person?" Don't fucking know. So we made Talk Heathen. We wanted to be able to have those conversations slowed down a bit, explained, a little bit more empathy, a little bit more patience, and where somebody says, "I want to talk about the Kalam cosmological argument." Take a breath, and then we'll say, what's your first premise? And we go from there. And the other thing, the thing that has really, really kind of sparked up from Talk Heathen is that atheists call in. And we actually have amazing conversations. And we treat that other piece, because it's not just leaving religion, it's giving people a place to land and learning that there are tons and tons of pitfalls, from parenting to mourning someone who's died. And we've got to kind of traverse that together. So maybe if we can talk about it, it will help. We can provide that community. It'll help. So that's what we do.
So Kyle, would you like to talk about dumpster fires?
How does my show go? Nobody knows. I will let you know when we figure it out, sir.
Okay, good to know. I'd love to learn how to manage them. So that's going to avoid them.
No, but we do a debate discussion platform. I think actually literally everyone in this room has been on the show before. Shut up, yes you have. You already put that joke out. Oh, that was Suris actually. You're stealing from Suris now.
No, I'm serious.
You were so
You and Ocean? He's here too.
Oh shit, you're right.
I'd say, Eric, you started out debating Ocean, and so did I. It's weird how this works.
But I've always been interested in people who have, sort of weird beliefs, different beliefs, and getting at why they believe the way they do. And to me, today people have forgotten how to sort of have a conversation with somebody that feels differently than you, believes differently than you, and it's nice to have a place that you can go and have that conversation. Now, does it end in complete dumpster fire at times? Absolutely. But I like to sum up NonSequitur as this. It is the perfect blend between Jerry Springer and PBS.
Dumpster fires still keep people warm. So.
Shannon, would you like to talk about how dumpster fires keep you warm?
No.
Okay. At least we agree there.
I am still recovering from my co-hosting of NonSec like 2 days ago. So I spend a lot of time co-hosting the NonSequitur show. I also spend a lot of time on Apologia's show as a cartoon version of me. But I have my own channel. It's called Shannon Q, and the theme of my channel is engaging in complex conversation, advocating for your own understanding, and working towards elevating the discourse. Those are the 3 things that I like to focus on my channel. My channel, as I mentioned before, is 2-tiered. I do scripted research videos that are very well cited, but the part that I'm passionate about the most is actually engaging in conversations with people who have diametrically opposed views to mine, so that we can help model conversations that are about the ideas. And one of the reasons I did that was because when I entered into this community, I saw a lot of conversations where there were just 2 people screaming at each other about who's the most right and why the other person was stupid for not being as right as they are, and nothing was being resolved. And all it helped to do, to my mind, was polarize people further into their existing camps, and nobody was really expanding upon or critically analyzing their ideas. And a lot of that was because people didn't feel listened to or understood, so they were never in a position where they were open to start questioning why they are where they are. So that is what I do on my channel. Everybody who's not familiar.
All right. Thank you very much for that.
I think you get modest too, because she was so involved that even before she had 1 video out, she got 1,000 subscribers.
Yeah, you know, when I got a Faithless forum, I had 300. I had less subscribers when I came to the first forum than you did before you made your first video. That feels really weird. That said, so the panel is about conversation strategies with theists, which is something that all of us engage in on at least some level. Most of us for a lot of them. First question would be, and this one I'll go ahead and direct to Dan first, since he's giving me really weird looks. So, do you think there are people or subjects which probably shouldn't be engaged with, and why?
That's a great question. I think the first thing I always tell people is, well, are we considering people's personal safety first, right? If there's something, if it's a topic that is going to personally hurt you in some sort of way. For example, if you're in danger of being kicked out of your house because you were gay, maybe it's not the best time to talk about that with people, right? Because having a strategy, having a plan for if something like that goes down is probably the first thing you should do first. And even then, people on the internet always say, well, become an adult first and make your own income so you have a plan before you have these kinds of conversations. Which, it sucks. It's like, well, I should be able to talk about things whenever you want, and that's true. But unfortunately, there's a lot of people who can't do that because they're in danger of some sort of persecution. And that could be from family, that could be from governments. Of course, we don't see that as much in the United States. There's a lot of other people in some other countries who definitely feel that, right? So that's the first thing I always say is, are you considering people's personal safety? After that, I say just go with your roundhouse. Like, go what's in what you have expertise in to talk in first. If there's something that you don't feel comfortable in talking about, it's like, look, I don't have the answers. I don't know. There's so many people who aren't okay with just saying, like, oh, yeah, I don't know the answer to that. They think that makes you feel dumb or stupid or like you're not informed.
Sometimes it's the honest answer.
Yeah, it's not the honest answer either. And it's like, well, I can't be an expert on everything. In fact, that's one of the great things of having a show where I bring in guests every week is that they can talk about the smart stuff, so they make me look smart by sitting next to them by comparison.
And why in the world did you invite me on?
It was the same week, man. Yeah, I mean, those are the first things that come to mind when I hear a question like that.
Okay, second question, unless anybody else would like to piggyback off that.
Yeah, I'd just like to throw in a little bit, if that's all right.
Sure.
Your question specifically was, is every conversation worth having?
No, the question was, do you think there are people or subjects which should not be engaged with?
Yes. Yes, I do.
Okay.
Anybody who has an Uncle Bob that lives out in the woods and is prepping for the end of the world, and really, really has strong opinions about race, it's really not worth having that conversation with Uncle Bob.
Probably not.
No. Also, if nobody knows about Uncle Bob, and you've got 100,000 subscribers, you probably shouldn't put Uncle Bob on your channel.
I don't have 100,000, so can't you talk to me?
Well, I mean, really. And then from there, just remember a real basic rule. The rule is respect people. You do not have to respect ideas. If we can follow that, we're generally going to be good. But if the conversation is just about, other people's humanity or autonomy, no, I'm not interested in that. I'd rather talk about those ideas.
Okay, well that actually leads into the second question, which I was going to aim at you for no reason whatsoever. Have you ever had any conversations that you have vehemently regretted?
All of them.
All of them? So pretty much every time Darth Dawkins calls in.
Okay. That was my answer, but if you were going to ask me that question. But yeah, I did have Darth Dawkins call in one time into my show. First, I didn't know who he was. He went by another alias. I actually thought it was Matt Slick at first. They actually have a pretty similar voice. But I kind of figured it out, and the call went okay. But my platform specifically wasn't built for debate. I just could say like, hey, go talk to Matt Dillahunty if you want to go do that. His show's on Sundays, man. Go, But the thing about people like Darth and the people who go out and attack other people is that they're not really interested in truth, right? They're just interested in getting their script out there to you. And what's the point in talking to people like that? I understand that there is a community of people who like to follow those kinds of people and like to, write down what they're doing so they can kind of make fun of them behind their backs and stuff like that. And if that's your thing, you go do your thing. But I'm more interested in having the conversations with people who are on the fence about things, who are really considering things. A lot of you know I had a conversation with Anthony Magnabosco quite a few years ago that changed my life in a lot of ways. He did make fun of me because I said some things that, looking back, I think are kind of dumb. But I was just a person figuring out my life, looking for truth, and
the truth was
wanted at the time. Truth was wanted. And I was engaged as like a human being. And yeah, like my video was on the internet, and like there were mean comments and stuff. You're always gonna get that, but like the fact that we even had that conversation was really magical. And I don't always see that, and even in our community, I think sometimes we're quick to pull our punches, and maybe we can just kind of step back a little bit and say, hey, let's just try to figure stuff out together as two human beings, and not just me as an atheist versus you as a insert whatever thing you're up against this day of the week.
Regrets. Yeah, no.
Not all of them.
But it's for probably a reason that you wouldn't necessarily imagine, and that is I go back and watch the shows a lot, and I'm trying to pick them apart and trying to do it better every time.
Pretty much going back and going, I could have done that better, I could have done that better.
Yeah, actually the second time Darth Dawkins called, it was almost a year after the first time, and I was fucking ready. Because of that. But even that, I looked back and went, you know what, I can still do that better. But as far as I wish they had never happened, no.
Okay. And this one is for you, Shannon. When you are countering claims, because you do mention you do have your very scripted edited videos, when countering claims,